Next up at UFC Vegas 39, we have Phil Hawes versus Deron Winn. Phil Hawes 11-2 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. Deron Winn 7-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5.
Deron with an E, if you don't mind.
What?
His name's spelled with an E.
Oh, Deron. Yeah, you're right. Oh well. Anyway, this is it's an interesting matchup because Deron is also a very good wrestler. So Phil Hawes is coming off that beautiful win over Kyle Dawkins where he fixed his cardio issues. That's always been the rub on Phil. He's a first-round fighter. He's got a ton of power, good wrestling, but a first-round fighter. He was a very dangerous man in his last fight and had cardio pretty much the entire time. He has very good wrestling. He has a ton of power, super explosive, both with his striking and his wrestling. He is working kicks in to really diversify his striking. He has a ton of power in his hands, and he looks better every single fight. He is a legitimate high-level athlete, and every time he comes out, it shows. There's improvements that are made, and he looks fantastic every single time. Deron, also a very good wrestler. He has solid aggression on his feet and continues to come forward with wrestling offense. He's a short little tank of a guy with big looping power shots and like thick hips. And those thick hips, which is weird to talk about a man's thick hips, but those thick hips and that body style is actually an issue for wrestlers. Because in order for Phil to use that high-level wrestling, and he has a much higher level of wrestling experience and success than Deron does, but in order to use that, he's going to have to get under Deron's hips. And it's tricky when you get two high-level wrestlers. Sometimes they just slug it out. And MMA wrestling is different than traditional wrestling. And in order for Phil to use his wrestling, he's not a hold you against the cage, trip you kind of guy. He's literally shoot under the hips and go from there. He has a short, stocky tank of a guy to work with. I honestly think Phil might have some trouble with the wrestling offense, and so then it's going to default to his striking. But Deron, I mentioned, MMA wrestling is not regular wrestling. If these two shook hands, had their feet on the line on a wrestling mat, there's no doubt in my mind that Phil will win.
I disagree.
A cage, what?
Deron Winn is a better wrestler than Phil Hawes.
Phil Hawes is a legit good wrestler.
Well, this guy's a national champion as well, and what did international wrestling even after college. So
yeah, but it doesn't matter. Phil Hawes.
I'm telling you, they're back to back. Okay. Deron Winn's a better wrestler.
Anyway, Deron Winn's uses his wrestling more effectively. MMA wrestling, he comes charging forward, shoots takedowns, and uses it really, really well. Even though Phil, who I think is the more raw traditional wrestler, you're disagreeing, but I just think he is. I think Dern will win the wrestling exchanges, and that could be a problem. If there are no wrestling exchanges, sometimes you get two grapplers, they don't grapple, they strike it out. I think Phil dominates the striking. He's getting cleaner and cleaner. He's mixing in kicks. His striking looks really good. What are your thoughts? I mean, if you think so, I don't know
who. Do you know who Jaden Cox is?
Yes, I know who Jaden Cox is.
Do you know who Pat Downey is?
No.
Do you think
I'm not playing your game? I know what you're doing.
Jaden Cox is a good wrestler.
I'm not playing your game.
Well, let's see his credentials because he seems like a pretty good guy.
I'm not playing your game.
He's got like a medal on of some sort. Was he oh, he was like an Olympic wrestler. So he won gold in world championships, bronze at the Rio at the Olympic Games.
Okay. Somebody pulled up Wikipedia.
Deron Winn has beat him in wrestling. So do you still think that Phil Hawes is a better wrestler than Deron Winn? He beat Olympic wrestlers.
I think Phil Hawes is a better traditional wrestler, yes.
There's no chance. That's the only way Deron Winn is going to win this. If he just slows it down and turns into a wrestling match, he'll win. But if Phil Hawes is able to use his athleticism at all, Deron Winn is going to be in trouble. Listen, the only issue that Phil Hawes, everyone said, was he doesn't have cardio. He doesn't have cardio. He doesn't have cardio. And then you watch his last fight, the whole division, I guarantee, went, uh-oh. Because he had incredible cardio. He's a very, very good wrestler in his own right. He's improving his striking every single day. And he is like the complete opposite of Deron Winn, Deron Winn, because Phil Hawes knew he had an issue, fixed that issue. Cardi worked hard. Deron Winn is 5'6", and that slob can barely make 185 pounds. He misses at 185 pounds. Listen, he's got a lot of potential, and he's with DC's boys at AKA. If he can buckle down and get under control, I think that he can be a really, really good fighter. I just think the athleticism of Phil Hawes is going to be a problem for him in this fight. So if he comes and shows up, it's going to be a lot closer than people think, because I think Winn is the better wrestler, but Phil Hawes needs to use athleticism in and out, attack him early, and he should win this fight. So my pick is Phil Hawes.
Yeah, I look at the my notes in my spreadsheet when I do this. I have Phil Hawes. I have the question mark in the box of who my pick is, because he's my pick. But if Dern wrestles, MMA wrestling is crazy. I've said this a million times. It is so much easier to finish a bad takedown than it is to defend one. So and I'm not saying Darren's gonna have a bad takedown. The point is, you can shoot a bad takedown and still get it, and you could have phenomenal takedown defense. It's still harder to defend a takedown than it is to finish one. So if Dern just comes out here looking to wrestle, it could be a problem for Phil. Phil is my pick. There is a question mark next to his name. Phil wrestled at Iowa, junior college national champion. Didn't wrestle after college because he transitioned right to MMA. So you can't look at the after college credentials there. Anyway, I don't know what to do with this Monkey Knife Fight line, and I don't like the money line and bets either, because I think this is a very, very close fight. They're basically mirror images of each other just on the books, except Phil's a little bit better.
Except
a little more.
Not exactly.
Yeah, on the books, in writing. Yeah.
One is chiseled out of granite, and the other one is chiseled out of lard.
Well, it's a much tougher fight to pick than the odds makers will make you think, or DraftKings. I'm not going to, I don't know what I'm going to do, because the winner's going to score a good amount of points. I don't like the strike line in either direction. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here, but we'll see how this this plays out throughout the week with weigh-ins and things like that. What do you like about the Monkey Knife Fight line or the DraftKings? Anything?
I would probably play Phil Hawes, because I think he just absolutely dominates. I probably play less too, because I think he comes across and just like old school, like Tyrone Woodley, just charge across, big right, and then go to wrestling if he needs it. So I love Phil Hawes. Love Phil Hawes.